Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. First of all, let me introduce my name. My name is Zalfa Kusha Azarin Chaya Arvalia from the absent 26 and also from the class 10 SKS 2 years. So today I will be actually presenting about one of the most potential and interesting topic that will be very useful in our regular days, namely the report text. Before we are jumping to the main presentation, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Akia as the English teachers that have given me the opportunity to actually presenting about this wonderful topic today. I would also like to say thank you to all of my friends in 10 SKS 2 years that have actually paying attention to my presentation today. So in presenting the report text today, I have 4 majority points that I will be actually talking about. Namely, the first one is going to be the basic knowledge of the report text itself. In here, we are going to talk about the definition, the function, or probably like the main purpose of the report text. And then second of all, we will be actually talking about the generic structure. So like we're talking what is the first part of report text, the second part, or probably like the third part of the report text. And then third of all, we are going to talk about the language features. So like it is the main characteristic of the wording or like probably the sentences that is useful for the report text. And then the fourth of all, or like the least one, is actually the example and also analyzation of the report text that I will be giving later. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the basic knowledge. So how is the basic knowledge of the report text, such as the definition, the main function of the report text? So, okay, what is report text? Report text is actually a text which represents information about something as it is. So like, is it basically a result of systematic observation and analysis that will be useful for our surroundings, such as me, students, and all of you guys as well. And then what is the purpose? If we already know what is report text, then why is report text have already made in this world, and why is it so useful for all of us, basically students? I have already divided it into 2 kind of points. First of all, in the social purpose aspect, it is actually presenting information about something. They generally describe an entire class of thing, whether it is actually natural or also made, such as probably the example in our life like mammals, the planet, rocks, plants, countries of regions, culture, transportation, and so on, etc. So, and the second purpose or like the second main function of the report text is actually to give facts about something as it is. It is actually engaging to the definition of the report text. It is actually stating a fact, so it is more like real things and not fictional. Okay, after knowing about the basic knowledge about the report text, let's move on into the generic structure or like the parts that I have already explained in the table of content previously. So in the generic structure here, we have 2 things in total. The first of all is actually general classification, and the second generic structure after the general classification is the description. Okay, so what is general classification? General classification is stating classification of general aspect kind of thing. For example, in our life, such as animal, public place, plant, etc., which it is actually going to be discussed in general. Second of all, the description. The description is actually telling us what is actually the phenomenon under the discussion in terms of parts, qualities, habits, or also behavior. Okay, that's it. It is actually pretty simple, right? The report text only have in total 2 kind of generic structure. And the next on, we are going to move into the language features or like the main characteristic of the report text. Here, I have actually already divided it into 3 kind of point, which is the first one is word, second one in sentence, and third one is in paragraph. So it is actually going from the smaller into the bigger aspect. Okay, so in the word, we have 4 here. First of all is use of the general nouns, for example, like hunting dogs. So why is it actually general nouns? Because we cannot use particular nouns in the report text here. For example, like our dogs. And why is it? Because report text, as just what I just said, it is actually stating a factual kind of thing. It is not like in the other text that is actually retelling our story. So it is most of like all people should know about this fact. That's why we are only using the general nouns here. Second of all, it is actually using of relating verb to describe features. So like the features that you are actually talking about in the main report text here is this actually describing with the relating verbs. For example, such as molecules are tiny particles. Third of all, there will be a technical terms here. For example, like isobars are lines drawn on a weather map. Because usually report text is actually very useful for the professional or like in a career, such as probably doctor, police, or probably like person who works under the law or like the government. This is actually, there is a word where people is actually using in terms of like professional, right? And for example, in here is isobars. Furthermore, there will be a use of action verbs when describing a behavior, such as emus cannot fly. Of course, like fly is the action verbs, right? So it is actually the thing that you're doing in your regular lives, and it is actually very useful for the report text here. Move on to the second feature with this sentence. So actually in a report text, we are using a timeless present tense to indicate usualness. It is not only happened in the past, it is not only happened in nowadays, and it is not only happening in the future. Therefore, here we are using the timeless present tense to actually indicate in all kind of time aspect here, and it is happening regularly. For example, like tropical cyclones always begin over the sea. It is an always, right? And it is not only like had begin over the sea or will begin over the sea. It is always. And then the third feature is this actually paragraph. The use of paragraphs with topic sentences to organize bundles of information. Repeated naming of the topic as the beginning focus of the clause. Yay! And then now we are going to move to one of the most interesting topic in this presentation, which is the example. We are going to jump into the real kind of type in this recount text presentation, and here we will be giving an example with the word guitar. So here I will be actually talking about the guitar, and I chose this because it is actually very relevant and who don't like music. Therefore, I am using the guitar as the example of the report text here. Okay, I'm going to read it for you guys. So guitars is actually one of the popular musical string instrument, and guitar has 4 until 18 strings and usually have 6 strings. It is actually played by the strumming or plucking the string with the right hands while fretting the strings with the fingers of the left hand. Okay, let me continue. The normal tuning of guitars are E, B, G, D, A, E, ordered from the first into the 6th string. So guitars has many parts on it. The 2 parts of guitar is neck and body. In the neck, there are tuners, not frets and fretboard. On the body, there are said bridge, soundboard, and sound hole. Guitars is actually used in a wide variety of musical genres in worldwide. It is recognized as primary instrument in genres such as blues, bluegrass, countries, jazz, metal, punk, rock, soul, and the others. There are many techniques that can be used while playing guitars. The difficult one for people is actually variative. The example of an easy technique called slide, it is very easy to learn. People just have to change the position of the fingers while a note is sounded by the sliding finger without make the sound cut. And then the example of the hard techniques called sweep. This is actually really hard. People have to be patient to learn it, just like the name, do this one technique by sweeping the strings in order. We structured, note it, and do it fastly and have to keep the sound chains. People need speed, skill, and precaution to learn this one technique. Many people assume that learning guitar is actually very difficult, but playing guitar is not as difficult as they have always imagined. If people learn guitar with patience, they can play guitar easily. What a wonderful example for all of us, yeah? So in here, we can actually already analyze that there are a lot of language features and also the generic structure that I have explained previously in the second table of content. Therefore, here we are going to analyze it one by one. Why is this guitar text is actually included in the report text, and therefore we are going to move to the next slide, analyzation. We are going to start with analyzation with the generic structure first. So as I already say, generic structure have two, which is general classification, that class anything in general, and the description, it is like the further explanation about the topic. Well, the general classification in the text guitar that we have read previously is actually guitars is one of the popular musical string instrument, blah 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 blah. So it is basically like, usually the general classification is put it on the like the first sentence in the first paragraph also. And then the description, which is like the further information and explanation about the guitar, is guitars has many parts on it. The two parts of guitar is neck and body, blah 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 blah. So as we already see, like it is actually mentioning neck and body, which is it is actually going into the parts of guitar itself, and it is indicating that this is the description of the generic structure in report text. Clear, yeah? And the next one, we are going to move into the language features of the text that we have actually already read in the previous one. First of all, general noun. So the general noun in the text earlier, I have already found some, which is guitar, parts, genres, music, techniques, people, and also sounds. About the relating verb describing features here, we also have recognized, primary, variative, easy, hard, and patient. And then technical terms, this is actually a lot because as we already said that it is actually only for like professional, right? It is actually only indicating into the guitars or like musical instrument. We cannot find this in anywhere else because like usually the one who uses this is the one that plays guitar or public musician. We have neck, body, turners, not frets, fretboard, saddle, bridge, soundboard, sound hole, slide, and sweep. And then about the action verb, we have sliding, learn, change, sounded, sweeping, keep. And then in the sentence aspect, in the features, we have guitars have many parts of it. There are many techniques. People can learn guitar with patience. Actually, in the timeless present tense, we have actually find a lot because like most of the sentence, or like we can say all of the sentence in report text is using the timeless present tense. So we cannot like include it one by one in this table today. But yeah, this is some of the example that already indicate that it is clear enough for the analyzation. Therefore, yeah, that is the four aspects that I will be talking about in this report text today. I hope that this is going to be useful for all of us, and I hope it is already clear, very much clear, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you very much for all of you guys. Thank you very much also for Mr. Ahia that have actually listening to my presentation today. I am very sorry if there are any mistake in my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm Zafa Kusya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.